Hello, everyone, and welcome to Flickering Myth TV. My name is EJ Marino, and today Alan is joining me for another discussion. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me. Always
Oh
glad
yeah,
to be here.
look. These conversations are always really fun, and it's really fun to dive into. This is something we kind of come across often in our discussions. It's
Mhm.
also 2020 when we cannot avoid streaming services and the war. Oh, I feel like I'm the Monday Night War with like WCW and WWF again, where I'm like, who's your favorite? And that's kind of something I wanted to dive into is which ones do you find yourself going to? I think in general, we all have favorites and we all have stuff that like, I'm going to throw out a hot take early. I think Hulu is a underrated favorite. I go to Hulu way more than I think I go to Hulu.
Mhm.
And I'm like, it's good, it's things. So that's kind of what I wanted to dive into is how they're doing, the public reception, and then our personal feelings too.
Yeah. When it comes to these apps, I think my things that are actually like my favorite, like has my favorite content, has just great services, don't end up being the things that I go to. I still just like default to Netflix a ton.
And see, I don't. And that's where I find it interesting for me. I compare Netflix in my notes is to a Walmart. It is the
Hmm.
biggest. It has the most stuff, I think. I think if you like really break it down, it has the most. I just don't think we need to go to it. And I just think it's like I think there's better, smaller options. Like I would say Hulu is the target. If I'm going with my Walmart analogy.
That's fair.
And yeah, and that's kind of how I feel with it. I don't find myself going to Netflix often. I used to for horror movies, and now
Hmm.
they got blown out of the water. I mean, Amazon Prime, everyone else is Hulu. When I go to for TV, what do you find on Netflix that grabs you to it all the time?
Um, I just end up I don't know. I just end up scouring on there and finding stuff that's worth watching. Sort of like I could probably be watching better TV if I just had the habit of moving over an app or two. But like, I mean, they do have all the Star Trek on there, and I think that's what keeps me coming back. That's probably eventually going to drop, and then I'm just never going to get to watch Star Trek again because I'm not subscribing to CBS.
I was I was going to say we have like weird Lone Ranger CBS All Access, which I'm noticing my parents are currently using because they're watching
Hmm.
things like The Good Fight and stuff like that. So I'm looking at it when they were like, "Hey, here's the login." It has things. I don't know if there's things. That one should be rolled up into somebody else, and I think
Yes.
we would love CBS All Access a little bit more if I don't know HBO Max or Hulu got it instead, but Hulu doesn't need it
Yeah.
because Disney owns Hulu, and well, ugh.
Yeah. I mean, HBO's working with Viacom on plenty of other things,
Yeah,
so just roll that in because nobody wants to pay for CBS. I don't want free CBS.
yeah. I truly don't need to watch NCIS ever, so
Yeah.
don't give me a reason to think it's there. Like, which again is
CB,
what
I was just gonna say CBS is like the most successful network consistently and just never has anything good.
and I. It's funny though because one of their most infamous things, The Big Bang Theory, isn't even on there now. It's a HBO Max with Young Sheldon as well. So like,
Yeah,
it's just interesting that like even
and
which
that's
I
an
don't
awful
think it's a
show
good
too.
show. I'm not saying it's good, but like that's one of their biggest hits, and it's
Mm,
interesting to see where they're doing. Again, I think they should be folded up. While we're on the subject of these nichier ones, I think the most niche, I would say HBO Max is for niche fans because it has
mhm.
weird subdivisions, but the most niche is truly Disney Plus. I know Disney has the biggest amount of fans, but it's
Yeah,
truly, I don't like it and I don't really use it because I don't have a connection to Disney, from Star Wars, Marvel, or their Disney proper. So it's just that's one that I'm like, I respect it that you're there. You will always be there. It's not for me.
yeah. It's niche in that I don't think it is like something that every single family will feel the need to have, but there are plenty of people that are just dialed into Marvel, Disney, and Star Wars
Mm-hmm.
uh, to keep it afloat. It I think I still subscribe to it, but I probably should cancel that because that's just $10 down the drain every month because I
Yeah,
don't
at
revisit
least
it unless we're
until
talking about it.
well, and at least until they should have had a better launch. You know, people are
Hmm.
really shading HBO Max. I have seen it get dogged to hell recently. With their grade was like a C plus. All the the DC shows are now leaving, or the movies. So which they're going to cycle them out with probably the Nolan movies and stuff like that as well. So it's just interesting of the flack that they're getting. But I'm like, Disney has given you all the Mandalorian. What maybe now that they had Artemis Fowl, which is the best hit they'll ever have. Oh my god. Sidebar, Artemis Fowl, the worst movie I've seen this year.
Terrible.
One of the
That's what I've
worst
heard.
movies I've seen.
It's Artemis Fowl
Oh, it's
with
foul. It
with a
smells, it's
U.
bad. Yeah. But those are the things that Disney is trying to offer us now, and it's not clicking where, if they would have came with a Marvel show, a Star Wars show, even a Disney proper show, they would have had a bigger I would have even been more kind to it now, where now I just see it, I'm like, oh, I watched The Mandalorian. See you in
Yeah.
October.
Yeah, that's kind of how I am with it. It's like I need to just unsubscribe and then resubscribe whenever there's something on there that I want. Like I like a lot of the stuff that's on there. I like the Marvel collections that they have and just some of the back catalog that they put together with it, but I just don't touch it, you know.
Well, you said
Um,
something that's interesting earlier, and I kind of wanted to dive into. You said there's some that you think are the best, that have some of the best content, even if you don't watch it. What do you think is like top dog right now? Like, who do you think is kind of running the game? Is it Netflix?
I mean, Netflix is running the game from a business standpoint, and they probably will be for at least another couple years. Me personally,
I
like
don't know if they
they're
have
mostly leaning, huh?
I don't know if they have the zeitgeist anymore. I feel like they dip in and out. It wasn't like when they had Orange is the New Black, House of
Yeah,
Cards, first Stranger Things. They were like the thing. And now I feel like
yeah, and
they're kind of
and
right there.
that's yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I think they'll be on top for the next couple of years, just through attrition.
The
Just
switch to Oscar movies is going to help them as well. I just saw the Defy Bloods from Spike Lee. It's going to be there.
Oh,
So,
yeah. I mean, I like that they're doing things like that, but like they haven't released a TV show, like a Netflix exclusive show that has been interesting to me in years.
I mean, even to the
So,
general public, Umbrella Academy popped not that much. They've had
mhm,
the pops, but even Stranger Things has dwindled in what it was to what it is now. So
yeah. As far as content, I really think HBO Max is in the best position
I'm
right now.
consistently finding something new on that every day. Like, Whose Line Is It Anyway is on there, which is crazy. Like the old seasons and like stuff
Hmm.
like that. I really like seeing that it's just one after another. I'm like, you have that? You have that? You have House, this 1977 Japanese movie that nobody should have
Hmm.
seen ever? What? Like, it's just really cool that they're consistently just being that one that's surprising me now.
Yeah, and people can shade it. Like the shade that I've seen from it is just like, oh, they're not offering anything new. It's like, but okay. And I've seen people be like, well, it's a $15 price point. That's excessive. I'm like, that's the HBO price point.
Also,
This to me is just HBO.
and most people are getting it for free.
Yeah.
Everyone that I know who has it from DirecTV or AT&T
Hmm.
or something else. So it's just funny that I'm like, I mean, it's there already. Like most people just have it now that I
Yeah.
know.
I didn't have to do anything extra
Either.
to have HBO Max. So it's just this streaming service that is a bonus on top of what I had before because I was already using their other apps. I was already using HBO Go, which I thought was trash. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, content wise, it was good, but it was a trash app. So I just got this bonus thing, and
Yeah.
it's full. It's packed with content.
And I think with I've noticed with it is there's something I noticed when you said there's people who are like, oh, there's not a lot of new stuff on there. It's because those people are usually in entertainment journalism, and you can't talk about rewatching Friends again. That wave's done. So I think there's stuff that's there that's entertaining in the
Hmm.
realm of pop culture talk conversation. They're not drawing it yet, and I think that's where they're a little like, but like they're gonna have good numbers. They have a great archive. They're just, I don't think until their big show. I don't know if they'll have it, which I'm watching Legendary, their original reality show.
Hmm.
I've seen the Anna Kendrick show finally. It's good. It got a season 2 as well. It's
Okay.
surprisingly much better. It's very HBO. I don't want to say like Sex and the City, but like those like, oh, it's gonna have a female following that's big
Hmm.
if it gets that extra push. And I want to see it do well. My personal favorite though is Shutter. I use that the
Oh
most.
yeah.
It's insane how much, which I love these little niche ones that pop up as well that are trying its own little things. I give them
Hmm.
credit too because give me my $3.99 for Criterion Collection. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like the little things that, for the most part, I like the little things that have come up as far as like when it's more niche.
Yes,
Like
not the
I said,
CBS or the Peacock
yes.
coming up or
Oh my God, yeah.
Quibi. We can't forget Quibi. It's that
Oh,
little kid at the party that's like, but me, and I'm like, Katzenberg, shut up,
no, get
go
out.
away.
Peacock like grates on me almost as much as CBS All Access. Like they really think that people are going to watch The Office again.
The Office, and I'm like, I mean, The West Wing again, sure, maybe right now to escape a political climate, go to The West Wing, but like, who like, it's just funny. I don't think, and I don't see what NBC would offer. You know, Steve Carell went over to Netflix with Space Force, which hasn't launched that well, so no pun
Yeah.
intended. So we'll see if he'll end up going back to Peacock or something. But God, he was even at Apple TV with his other show, The Morning Show, and
Mhm.
he's just not clicking. Which
I
we haven't
forgot
talked
about
about
Apple
Apple TV.
TV.
I have it for free for a year on my
Mhm.
phone. I forgot that I have it for free for a year on my phone, so that tells you how much I use that. There's shows on there that are interesting. I saw the first M Night Shyamalan show he had there.
Mhm.
Weird, very M Night. I just it's there. I feel bad for that one.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that one. There's just so much.
Yeah.
And I think the fracturing of it, and we've talked about this on the podcast several times, but I think the fracturing of streaming services is going to come to a head at
Yes.
some point. Um, I mean, Disney and HBO piling on is a lot already. I think they are both in strong enough positions to where they're not. I don't know. It might be. I was going to say they might not be the straw that breaks the camel's back, but I mean, it might be. I mean, the stronger you make the competitors, the more people are just going to be like, I don't need to do this
Yeah.
anymore. So
Yeah,
I don't
maybe
know.
a consolidation of them. Like, give me God. It's just going back to like a TV, like a provider where I'm like, can I get like an a la carte? Like, can I get an HBO Max, a Hulu, and like Shutter all together somewhere? Something like that. I think Amazon Prime does that well with having channels. Like
Hmm.
I have Shutter through Amazon Prime. I have Boomerang through Amazon Prime. I like that
Hmm.
because I just add on to whatever monthly thing I can do, and it's just little extensions to it. I like that. I've
Oh,
been I've been enjoying the extension idea of it.
yeah. I mean, I like that in concept. I don't like that in my own
Okay.
in my own practice because I will just sit there and be like, yeah, I'll free trial that, free trial that, and then like 6 months later, I'm like, why am I paying $40 a month to
Yeah.
Amazon?
I don't watch enough a pup named Scooby Doo to justify my Boomerang after the free trial. I get it. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I like this. I like this kind of continuing conversation of the streaming wars. I feel like we're just we're in the trenches right now, just talking about it. So I want to see in a couple months we're gonna keep doing these just to be like, what
Hmm.
is the state of this industry right now? Do you have any closing thoughts before we wrap up our streaming conversation, at least for now?
No, I just think that I mean it is something that we have to keep revisiting. It is well worth talking about because this is, to me, the center of the entertainment universe at this point.
Yeah, especially now with theaters. I mean, this is not off the subject, but with more movies getting delayed now, these are when these
Hmm.
platforms are going to have to come up and go, here we are, and not just this video on demand stuff, which I'm not against. I think the $20 price point's not bad. Whatever, that's always
Yeah.
going to be there. But I really think streaming services, HBO Max especially, there needs to be something that comes up in this gap right now and Tiger King, we joke about that over on Netflix, but that came at that moment to be a zeitgeist thing. Someone needs to come up with something.
Yeah, I mean, as morbid as it is, it's a hell of a time to launch a streaming service.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and it's very practical, and hopefully HBO Max can capitalize on it. And oh god, those things I've seen a million times. Well, go start watching Home Alone 3 and 4 that's on there. Try something new. Like,
yeah,
I think this is the time that we're going to be venturing into these things a little bit deeper.
Yeah, go watch The Wire again. If you haven't seen it, it's worth your time. If you have seen it, do it again.
Yeah, that's perfect. Here's my recommendation. Go to Shudder and watch all the Halloween movies. They're there. They're always a good time, especially the one with Paul Rudd.
6?
All right. Yes, 6. It's bad, but it's fun. Paul Rudd's there. He's a baby.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for joining me for this. This is always so fun. All right, guys.
Yeah.
I want to know your favorite streaming services down below. What do you find yourself going to the most? Is it like Alan, where you're like, Netflix, you got me for tonight. I'm falling asleep to you again. Or do you have something else that you like that's a little bit more low key? I want to let me know your feelings down below. Make sure you subscribe to Flickering Myth because we make videos like this every single week. And give me a thumbs up if you did enjoy this video. All right, Alan, join me for another conversation next week. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Comment down below.